right, today we're moving through the same steps global wealth planners use for their clients. Okay, we're going to start with something almost anyone can achieve if they've got the money, residence in another country. It's a basic escape hatch. Then we're moving into something far fewer people ever reach, a strategic second citizenship. And finally, we're ending off with a level reserved only for the ultra-rich, a portfolio of passports, each one protecting a different part of their life, just like assets on a balance sheet. This is the Billionaire Passport, Citizenship for Sale Explained. Welcome to ALUX. All right, so we're starting this discussion by talking about how your passport is really a financial cage. We start at the entry level where money can only buy you the right to move from the country that you were born into. Because you see, freedom doesn't start with income. It starts with the passport you're stuck with. On paper, money looks universal, but in reality, your passport decides what your money is allowed to do. It decides where your money can travel legally, which banks will open their doors to you, how governments treat your wealth, and most importantly, whether you can leave if your country becomes unstable. You see, anyone can become rich, but not everyone can become free. Here's something you probably don't know. The US is one of only 2 countries on Earth that taxes you even if you live abroad. The only other country that does that is Eritrea. So even if you leave America, invest abroad, and build a life somewhere else, the IRS stays with you like a lifelong business partner who never invested a dime. So here's how that works. You can physically move to another country, but your original government still claims a share of everything you earn. Think of it like canceling your gym membership and still being billed every single month simply because one time you signed up. And taxes are just one layer of this cage. A weak passport can trap the wealthy for reasons that have nothing to do with tax. An Indian or Chinese passport requires visas for most major business destinations. A Nigerian or Filipino passport can make foreign banks treat you like a legal risk. A Brazilian passport might limit asset banking in Europe due to scrutiny on corruption risk. You could be a millionaire in Lagos with global businesses, yet a bank in Switzerland can legally turn you away because of your passport. Essentially, what this means is your birth certificate is either a set of keys or a set of handcuffs. Now, the first solution to this problem is buying residency by investment, or in other words, getting a golden visa. Now, these exist in places like Portugal, Spain, Greece, Singapore, the UAE, and a couple more places, and each requires a minimum investment. You must own a business, property, funds, or government-approved assets. For example, Portugal's program starts around €500,000 depending on the investment category. Greece requires $250,000 plus in real estate, and it's higher in prime areas. The UAE grants a 10-year golden visa for 2 million dirham, or around $545,000 in property. Singapore demands entrepreneurs to invest in the Global Investor Program. So here's how that works, okay? You invest in a qualifying asset. The government checks that it's legal and from clean capital, and in exchange, they give you the right to live there, send your kids to school there, and open up local bank accounts. So basically, you're buying a home that comes with a spare country stamped in on the paperwork. If your original country becomes unstable, hostile, dangerous, or unpredictable in any way, the wealthy don't panic. They board a plane and continue their life somewhere else as if nothing happened. Their kids keep on studying, their businesses keep running, their access to hospitals, banks, and courts stays intact. Residency is the emergency exit most people don't even know exists. Most people think safety is about money. The wealthy know safety is really about options. And the first option they buy isn't a new passport. It's a legal place to run to if things ever go wrong. But residency is still just a temporary pass. The real upgrade is changing which country has legal control over your life. And look, if you want to understand how wealthy people structure their lives internationally, this is exactly the kind of knowledge we teach you inside the ALUX app. We're giving you the tools and knowledge to operate like the top 1%, not just when it comes to your business and finance, but also your mental health, physical wellness, and confidence in relationships. And just this week, we launched the ALUX Network within our app, essentially a private space where ALUXers all over the world can connect, a space where our community members can discuss strategies and goals with other vetted builders who actually understand and share the challenges and implications that you're facing. Being a founder and CEO, it can be lonely, but it doesn't have to be. So head to alux.com/app to download it and then scan this QR code to get 25% off your annual membership. I'll see you on the inside. But in the meantime, let's move on in this conversation to talk about who still owns you on paper. Because residence gives you permission to live somewhere else, but your original passport still claims your money, your status, and your legal identity no matter where you live. If your birth country decides to raise taxes or restrict money transfers abroad or freeze bank accounts, residency cannot protect you. You are still legally tied to the country that you're trying to escape. So here's how that works, okay? Residency is an address. Citizenship is a legal owner's manual. You can change houses, but the manual still has your name on it. For wealthy individuals, that's the real risk. Even a stable nation can suddenly decide you owe more simply because you have the money to pay it. Governments treat the rich like renewable resources, especially in a crisis. During downturns, nations around the world raise taxes on high earners and capital gains. Some countries implemented wealth taxes directly tied to net worth. Essentially, what that means is the richer you get, the more tempting you become as an emergency fund for your government. A resident can still be taxed, sanctioned, chased, and controlled. But a citizen can leave the relationship entirely. That's why wealthy individuals don't stop at residency. They upgrade to citizenship, a full transfer of ownership. Enter the billionaire's passport. So there's an open market where countries sell citizenship to high net worth individuals if they contribute to the economy, usually through qualifying investments, government bonds, approved real estate projects, or direct national development funds. So these are not just passports for tourists. No, these are powerful legal tools because second citizenship detaches your wealth from your original government. For citizens of the US, renouncing citizenship can legally end worldwide taxation. For citizens of politically volatile nations, a second citizenship means their government can no longer trap their assets or prevent them from leaving. So here's how that works. A second passport acts like a spare identity. If your home country becomes unstable, the new one steps in and says, "He's ours now." Tax freedom becomes a possibility. Mobility becomes a default. Banks stop treating you like a risk. Governments stop treating you like a revenue source. Buying a new citizenship changes who can tax you, who can control you, and who has legal claim over your life's work. It's one of the most powerful upgrades that wealth can buy. But here's where the ultra-rich think differently from the merely wealthy. Most people treat citizenship as identity, but the wealthy treat it as infrastructure. If one passport can protect you from the country you were born into, what protects you from the country you just switched to? Because every nation has taxes, alliances, risks, treaties, and political agendas. So the wealthy, they make the same decision they can make with their money. They diversify, not their investments, their citizenship. And that's where we reach the final level, citizenship as an asset class. So imagine your life as a business, okay? Would you trust one supplier for everything you need? One bank for all of your liquidity? One stock for your entire retirement? Of course not, right? So why would you trust one country with your entire identity? Governments think in decades. Family wealth thinks in centuries. A single citizenship cannot carry a multi-generational financial plan. And that is why wealthy families assemble passports the same way investors assemble real estate portfolios, with different properties serving different purposes. Now, not all citizenships are designed for the same job. There are multiple types of strategic passports, and the rich collect them like Pokemon. So let's start off with the most obvious one, the tax passport. Now, it's used to disconnect wealth from aggressive tax regimes. There are places with no tax on global income, no inheritance tax, and no capital gains tax. Places like the UAE, Bahrain, Monaco, and the Bahamas. So having a passport from one of those places essentially means that you have a tax shield wrapped in a flag. The second type of passport is the mobility one, and it's used for visa-free access to banking, trade, and travel hubs. Malta unlocks the European Union. Grenada unlocks China and a treaty pathway into the United States. Essentially, what this means is it works like a VIP card for airports, banks, and global commerce. Then you've got the neutral passport, used to avoid sanctions, political targeting, or association with unstable governments. These are not passports you buy. These are passports you earn through patience, okay? Switzerland, Ireland, and New Zealand offer long-term residence paths that eventually become some of the safest, most politically neutral citizenships on Earth. And finally, you've got the asset passport, used for business registration, trusts, banking, and offshore structures. Essentially, what that means is it's the legal address where your money sleeps at night. But, to see how multiple passports actually work in real life, just imagine this, okay? You were born in Germany. You build your life there, you work there, pay taxes there, but years later, through residency and time, you become a Swiss citizen. Now, imagine Germany suddenly tightens its policies during a crisis and restricts German citizens from leaving the country. Basically, anyone who holds a German passport is stuck. They wait, they comply, they hope the rules change. But you've got another option. You simply book a flight and travel as a Swiss national. At the airport, you present your Swiss passport. Legally, you're now under Swiss jurisdiction, not Germany's, when crossing that border. Germany can enforce its rules on its own citizens, but it cannot enforce those same rules on citizens of Switzerland without a serious diplomatic reason. So essentially what that means is a second passport works like a private exit door in a crowded building. Everybody else has to wait at the main entrance, but you don't. And this applies to every other type of passport as well. So before we end this video, just answer this one question for yourself. Is your passport something you were given or something you chose? Thanks for spending some time with us today, Alexer. We'll see you back here next time. Until then, take care.